Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres, and we have some new things we'd like to share with you this week. Not just our normal run-of-the-mill going over what we've done in the last week. So I hope you have the time to stick around and be a part of that with us. As way of announcements, please remember if you have questions for the show, leave your questions in all capital letters to let us know that that is for us and not for the other viewers in the comment section. Also, as you're settling into your seat and getting ready for the show, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and give us a like. Even though we are incorporating the live chat as a part of our recordings now, we would still love to see those thumbs up to let everybody know that you were here.
It helps our channel.
It does help. All those little statistics. I mean, the way I look at it, there's a lot of things out there where people try to say, what is or is not important on YouTube and what you should and should not focus on if you're even trying to build an audience and not just put videos out for your family and friends. And the way I look at it is, if it's there's got to be a reason for it. There's something, even if it's a small percentage of the math being done in the background, there's a reason for it. So I appreciate you making use of that thumbs up and clicking it for us. All right.
We've had a busy weekend.
Well, we've had a very busy day because our Saturday yesterday was just full of rain. Did anybody else have a really rainy Saturday yesterday? Ours was just, there wasn't a good usable part of the day, really. It just rained the entire day, and so much so that we needed to use the tractor to move some heavy things around today. But I had to drive the tractor real good and slow to try and not just tear the whole place up. Sure, I left tractor marks everywhere, but at least I didn't make a mess out of the place. So I wonder if anybody else has been experiencing that. Mina asks, how is our kombucha consumed? We've got one bottle left. I need to go ahead and start another batch. Also, the apple cider vinegar is doing really well. If you've been watching that, you know that I've been trying to get... There seems to be two primary ways that the mother of vinegar can present itself in apple cider vinegar. One is like this brown, cloudy mass, which is certainly what we had when we started. And the other is like a white... SCOBY that looks very similar to the kombucha. Well, our apple cider vinegar has officially formed that white SCOBY looking mother, and we are just sitting it there and letting it grow. So right now it's just in there, and I need to get it big enough that it can help hold down the apple chunks. Otherwise, if I put it in and then add the apples on top of it, it'll just make the whole thing hard to work with. So I need to
and it tries
get
to
it big
float
enough.
to the top anyway.
Yeah, it tries to float to the top. It's going to push the apples up out of the liquid and everything. So it needs to go on top. So I'm trying to get it to grow a bit bigger. So we'll see. It's just a matter of time. It just takes time.
I'm a backwoodsman says last night off and on today it was raining. JRC Homestead, Texas says we had light rain Friday, then sent the rest our way.
Yeah. And we're supposed to get rain, starting tomorrow, going into Tuesday, something like that. It's supposed to be,
I can look at it.
Supposed to be some good chances of rain coming up too. And don't get me wrong, I like having the rain. It's just a matter of, when you work a full-time job and you're trying to use the weekend to get homesteading projects done, it's kind of frustrating. So yeah, tomorrow's a 50% chance of thunderstorms, 30% Monday night into Tuesday and Tuesday night. So we'll see how that goes. 30%, y'all know how that is. It's the same where you are. 30% could mean...
but Thursday's going to be bad.
Thursday's 70% chance, day and night. You know how that 30% is? It usually doesn't mean 30% of the day. It usually means a 30% chance of getting soaked all day or not.
Yeah.
Occasionally it means you have a 30% chance of getting one drop of rain on your property, and then the weather forecasters go, yeah, we got it right. But hey, we've
But at least it made for a quiet family day yesterday.
it did.
Sat around the house and watched movies all day.
Yep, got a little R&R in.
Got some shopping done too.
Yep. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we saw on YouTube last week.
We had videos on YouTube last week?
Believe it or not, we did a couple of them. Though we have broken our chain. We were going with a video every single day, and then we missed it on Friday. Now, I could have had that Pieces of 8 Rosebush video out on Friday, and been in a rush to try to film something on Saturday when it was raining. But, you know, hey, it's just a day. And really, we were kind of doing that for fun. Anyway, alright, so let's see here. Last week, in order here, since our last live show, we did the super easy bee trap. We showed you using a subsoiler to break up the ground so that we could put in a new water pipe or extend a water pipe. And then there was the big, almost half-hour long.
Really?
Excuse me.
Really?
That's what it was.
8 minutes after the...
8 minutes into the show, and I'm already yawning so bad. Anyway.
We're going to have problems here, folks.
Well, I have been cutting down trees all day and working the beehives. And
this is true.
Alright, so we've had about the half-hour long walkthrough. Took you all around the property, showing you a whole bunch of stuff that was growing or in bloom or being harvested even. And then we had the Pieces of 8 Rosebush. So, yeah. So, yeah.
Ginger Rose says that rosebush is beautiful.
Yeah, we can't really wait to see it in person. Obviously, the pictures that are in the video came from the website that we purchased them off of. But we do look forward to seeing it. Mommy, can you just tell everybody how lovely they look tonight while I deal with the children that aren't in bed?
I sure can. Here recently, we've been telling the little ones that if they actually sleep in the morning, they'll be able to stay up a little bit later. Well, tonight we're kind of running into the problem with that because it's been putting them to bed at 7 o'clock at night. And now here this past week, they've actually been sleeping in, so they've been allowed to stay up till 8 o'clock. And we're finding out they're not going down quite so easy as they should be. Alright, so what was y'all's favorite video this week? Let me know that in the comments. And don't forget to send your questions in now, because if you send in your question and it's not related to what we're talking about, I will grab that question and throw it over to Jared, and we will catch it by the end of the show.
But there's a lot of people that think that are like, your kids go to bed at 8? How many?
Yeah, no kidding.
How many people are talking about
Actually,
that already?
they're probably sitting there going, wait, they used to go to bed at 7? How'd you manage that?
Training when you don't know any better, when that's what you went your whole life doing. It's easy.
I had a bedtime when I was a kid.
You know, I'm sure I had one, but I don't remember what it was. But it's routine, and if you get a child in a routine of this is wake up time, this is the times during the day that you get food, this is the times during the day where chores get accomplished, this is the time you go to bed.
Now here's the real secret. They're not supposed to come out of their room until 8 a.m. because that's when I am willing to get up. But the two little ones usually get up at about 6. This is actually brainwashing. I am brainwashing the children to sleep in until 8.
Yeah. Sleeping in is relative. Whether or not they actually sleep in or just play quietly in the room, we'll never really know.
Never really care.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick again, because I know we kind of broke that up. There's the bee trap, the subsoiler, the plants that are growing, and the Pieces of 8 Rosebush. So there's 4 videos for you to poll on. I want to know which of those videos was your most favorite, and if you don't mind, even tell me why. The bee trap, the subsoiler, the plants that were growing, or us planting the pieces of 8 rose bush, which is officially the last planting going into those raised beds. So let me know which one of those meant the most to you. Which one did you like the most, and maybe a reason why you liked it, and we'll talk about those a bit more. Whew. And I will just keep yawning and yawning.
Joton says his kids are hard to get in bed before 9 to 10, sometimes later. It's a fight.
Okay. You should have had that fight when they were 2.
Yeah. Now, our older kids usually go to bed by about 9, and if they happen to be watching a movie and we happen to not want to go to bed at 9, we might let them stay up until 10. But it's not always. And that's just because that's when we go to bed.
And we do a bit with the changes in the daylight, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of why this 8 o'clock thing even came around, is during winter it was getting dark before 7 o'clock, so it was easy to send them to bed at 7. Now it's not getting dark that early, and so sending them to bed really is just sending them to their room, and they're still going to be up for another hour or 2, so, might as well let them be up with the rest of the family and send them to bed a little bit later. But...
Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts on which videos they liked?
Subsoiler. We got 1 vote. That's it. Period.
That's it? Just 1 comment for the subsoiler, huh?
I think that everyone else... You yawned and everyone else fell asleep.
That's what it was. I passed it on. Even through the internet, a yawn just made everybody fall asleep. Well, I tell you what. Let me mention the subsoiler really quick, and then we're going to jump into something I've never shown before. We're going to do it early in the show and get everybody's attention.
It's going to be fun.
And, well, it's fun for us anyway. We hope it's fun for you. So the subsoiler is pretty cool. I think a lot of times people don't know what they would use it for. Now, in our case, the frost line's only 1 foot underground, which for many of you is probably just ridiculous. But for us, we can just get 1.5 feet, 2 feet down and have no worry whatsoever about the pipe itself ever freezing. Now, of course, the pipe's above ground. They freeze every winter, but so we're just trying to extend a water line over from one side of the yard to the next, and the subsoiler helps break that up, and then we can come in and shovel it out from there. We have a plow. I could have just plowed the darn thing, but that would have made too wide of a hole for what I'm really trying to do. But the subsoiler has a lot of other uses too. A lot of people use it just for irrigating a pasture or something like that. So helping it drain off. If you're in an area that gets a lot of rain and you need the pasture to drain off because you have livestock that walks on the pasture and you don't want it to turn into a big muddy marsh, you can draw some lines counter there's a word for it, perpendicular to the contour. So straight downhill, in other words. Just draw some lines straight downhill and help that water run off. So it's got several other uses too, and there's probably even more that I'm not even familiar with.
I need to apologize. Ginger Rose apparently voted for the garden tour, but she didn't do it in all caps, so I missed it.
Aha.
One of those things, guys. You don't do it in all caps, I'm liable to miss it.
The garden tour was fun to do. But I asked for a lot of opinions on that video. At the end, I asked for opinions, and thankfully, a lot of people watched the video all the way to the end, and have been offering their opinions on different ways that I could do that. Because I don't really like to publish a 30-minute long video. I'd rather publish a 5-minute or less video, not just because it's easier for the computer to actually do that and to upload it. But also because the majority of people are more willing to watch a 5-minute video than a 30-minute video.
It's fun sitting here listening to him curse his computer because
Hurry up
it is
already.
Taking forever to render the video.
Yeah. But there's so many things growing right now. It's spring. I mean, what can you say? It's spring in our climate. I know it's not in many others. So. Alright, here's what I want to show you. If you're not around, get over here and take a look. I got something I want to show you.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
So,
Daddy got a new toy.
here's a picture. that we took using our brand new drone. We purchased a drone, and today was the first time we've been able to get it up in the air. Yes, it's registered and legal and all those other kind of fun things. I even paid my $5 to the FAA to register it, and yes, it's labeled and all those other kind of things for
And
anybody who might be concerned.
And we intend on taking classes so that we can fly it in public areas as well.
Yeah, so that'll come down the line, because apparently it's a lot of self-training, and then you just go take a test. So we'll see how that goes. And here's another picture for you, and you'll see this again in a second, so take a quick look. This is Lake Tom Bailey. This is a man-made and man-stocked fishing lake about a mile or so down the road from us, and we flew the drone all the way down there and took a picture of Lake Tom Bailey. But, you know, pictures are fun, but video's better. Here we go. I did add some music into this, but we'll add some commentary. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, enjoy some music intermission for about 7 minutes. And I'll lay in some commentary while we go along.
Jason Allman says, bee trap.
So here's something interesting. I don't know, can you see them flying around? The bees hate this thing. We even found where a bee tried to sting the drone. They absolutely hate it. Kind of an interesting thing. So here we are, we're flying, we're still on J&J Acres, and look at all the different colors of green, all the different hues and shades of green. I love living in this forest because it is not just a pine forest. We are lucky enough to live in a mixed forest, so we have pine and hardwood. And there is Lake Tom Bailey off in the distance, still almost 3/4 of a mile away. And a lot of woodland here. One of the things Jennifer and I talked about is we can, I'm going to use the wrong word here, but it does kind of convey the intention. We're going to spy on some timberland that's two parcels over. 80 acres of timberland that we would just love to buy from them when they harvest it next, so that they say that they got all the money they could out of it and we can buy it cheap. So we can easily launch up, look over, and say, yep, they haven't harvested it yet, and come back.
Now, because of one of the comments in the chat room, I want to let you guys know we don't intend on using this drone to spy on our neighbors or anything like that. But if we happen to fly over our neighbors, that's going to be inconsequential.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, there's 1,000 warnings in the manuals for this thing not to film other people and not to invade privacy and all that kind of stuff. And that's just common courtesy and common sense anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know where y'all live, but crop dusters, those little kind of prop planes fly over my property all the bloody time. Just flying over somebody's property, that's not illegal. And I mean, you can see I've got this squarely pinned in to see what I'm actually looking for here, which is the lake. And had there been a public park between me and that lake, I would not be allowed to fly over that, because being registered and unlicensed, you have to have a license in order to fly over people, and even then you have to have a waiver to fly over people. So there's a bunch of rules and regulations, and we certainly want to do the right thing and all that. But let's spin around here and and go back home.
What's the range on your drone? How far can you fly it and not lose signal?
Okay, so that's about 3/4 of a mile to Lake Tom Bailey, and from my house with the tree cover, the drone was at its full maximum legal limit. It was about 390 of the 400 feet it's allowed to fly, altitude-wise, and it was just starting to report to me weak signal on the controller. So I decided not to get any closer to the lake and bring it on home. Now, that said, the specs on paper, out in the desert, out in the plains, line of sight for miles kind of thing, the drone is supposed to be able to go 4 miles away from the controller, which just seems absolutely crazy.
And 40 miles an hour, too.
Yeah, and it's got a sports mode on it where you can go like 40 miles an hour and fly it around like a racing drone, too. So here we are, we're coming back up. We're just about over our property again. That's our long loop driveway. I'm going to start panning down, and you'll kind of see me in the top left corner of the driveway by the red carport. And I'm just going to keep this flying over towards the next lake, which is Lake Dalewood. But I don't try to get anywhere near it because it's a whole lot further away than Lake Tom Bailey is. But there we are. Yeah, you can't tell, but I'm actually waving at the camera right there.
Music Well says, really stable picture. That's great.
Yeah, I was very impressed with how well it does with the picture. Now, of course, this was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was very bright out. So I'm sure all of the sensors and what have you were at their optimum efficiency.
It's like a modern homing pigeon with a camera attached. That was Artistic Gardener.
There's the Tomb Suba Water Tower coming into view, and you can see the why did I just lose the name of that
Daleville.
lake? Dalewood.
Dalewood.
Dalewood Lake up there. That's another man-made lake in a gated community. Probably wouldn't want to get the drone too close to there either, even though it's not restricted airspace. I still wouldn't want to hear the complaints about people flying over a gated community. Alright, so here in a second, it's going to just start to hover, and I'm going to start panning around, and you can just kind of see. It's really stunning to me. Of course, I just love nature. Now, mind you, this is only 400 feet in the air. Not even 400, because it says you're legally allowed to go 400, but about 390, the remote won't let you go any higher. But look at that.
Now, what happens if it does fly out of range?
So the answer is it returns home. Now, this drone knows where home is because it automatically senses it and calibrates it and puts it into its computer systems as soon as it takes off. So there we go. That was it. Quick look, squint really hard. You see all the bees flying around this thing? It's absolutely crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, they hate it. We have actually found bee parts on the camera where they physically attacked it.
Yeah. Yep. So it used to be with drones, that every one of them had to be manually calibrated. You had to do a series of events to calibrate the compassing and the GPSing and manually program in where home is and all that kind of stuff. Oh,
that's better.
That is better. That explains why why this was all off in the first place. That explains a lot. Thank you for figuring that out.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was wondering why I couldn't get us to white balance quite right. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
This one, as soon as you turn it on, it comes up and says, well, it takes about 10 seconds and says ready to fly. And as soon as you take off, it says home point sent, verify on map. And there's a little map on the screen and you can verify if it's right or not. And that wasn't the only time we flew to Lake Tom Bailey. Another time we flew it about halfway back, and despite how nervous I was, I pushed the fly home button. So at any time you can sit there and tell it come home. So if you lost sight of it, because you're supposed to keep it in visual range, if you lost sight of it or for whatever reason you need it to fly home, If it goes out of range and goes into a fail-safe mode, it'll return to home. Well, I pushed that button, and sure enough, it came and landed about, what, 10 feet away from me?
Yeah, about that.
So, and Brandon says it was like 3 feet from where it took off, so that's pretty darn good.
Does the drone make a buzzing sound? That's the
Oh,
reason the
man.
bees don't like it.
That thing
Sounds like a hornet.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
It actually sounds like a swarm of hornets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how, now, once it gets, what, 50 feet in the air,
You can't really hear
you
it.
can't hear it too well. When it's high up in the air, like over 100 feet in the air, you can't hear it unless it's right above your head. So, but anyway,
Let It Snow says, love your sincerity.
the Hilltop, in the kitchen at Hilltop Farm said they ranged so much in price. How did you choose? I watched 1,000 videos and read 1,000 reviews, and excuse me, there are ones that are bigger, that have higher rated cameras that can shoot better pictures in dimmer light and things like that. This one has a good balance of price. It's extremely compact. So if you've ever seen the...
About this big once you fold all the pieces in. You're going to have to tell them what model you chose to. Show and tell.
So here it is. Have you ever seen the big white ones, the Phantoms that were I don't know, very popular? Those, they come in this big huge Pelican case, this big huge hard case, and it's really hard to truck them around. But one thing I was really keen about was the portability. I wanted to be able to easily get around. So there it is. That's it right there. And you can see it just looks like a little, I don't know, a little tiny kid's shoebox in size. But it flips out. Behave, Jared. There it is. And so there's my registration mark.
It's in there.
Yep. But anyway, it's called the DJI Mavic Pro, since that was asked. I tried adding it to the video description moments before the show started, so hopefully it's down there.
How long have we owned it? 2 days.
Yeah, we owned it for 2 days. It came in, then it rained all day.
And believe me, he was sitting here in the house playing with the simulator and watching countless YouTube videos on how to do it. The rain drove him nuts.
But you know what? That was a good lesson, because I learned I needed to upgrade the firmware. So I got to get all that done, and the rain managed to keep my anxiousness in check. It didn't, I didn't have the ability to run outside and just try it anyway.
Yeah.
So it was probably for the benefit of the machine and myself, and all that kind of stuff. So let's see here. Anyway, so that's why I chose that one, because it had the right balance of everything I was looking for. I mean, it's expensive, plain and simple. You don't get a good one without spending good money, plain and simple. So I don't know if we'll ever live in a place where we'll be able to line of sight fly 4 miles out kind of thing.
But we might visit somewhere.
That would be nice. But it'll just be fun. I mean, so there's certain limitations, like I can't go out and make money with this. Somebody can't turn around and say, hey, I'll pay you $100 if you come survey my property for me, or come take a picture of it or whatever. But I can turn around and go have fun at a friend's house. Rest assured, I'm going to go fly over a few friends' house for them and get them a picture just for fun.
Is it possible to fly in the rain? Absolutely not.
No.
We shouldn't have flown it in the fog this morning.
Yeah, it was a little bit too foggy this morning. And it's not because of visibility, really. It's just because you don't want to get the innards of the machine wet. So yeah. It's not made to do that. Another nice thing about this one that I'll have to mention really quick is It has a bunch of sensors on it. One of the ones I was considering was put out by GoPro called Karma. And the big benefit behind that is you get a GoPro camera, you get a little selfie stick, and then you get a drone. So I mean, you can just imagine all the different uses. Somebody with a YouTube channel could use a GoPro camera on a gimbal selfie stick, so it stays level no matter how you move it around, and on a drone. But the drone itself is nothing but a helicopter with a camera stuck on it. This one has sensors all over the darn thing, and even in trying to learn to fly it this morning, I can't tell you how many times it would just all of a sudden go beep, 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 and it just hits the brakes and flies backwards because you got too close to something. So, I mean, there's a pretty good chance if I had bought a Karma, I'd already wrecked it today, whereas this thing wouldn't let me wreck it.
Mm-hmm. So it has stingers mounted to it now?
Yes. Yeah. It's fully weaponized.
Dolphin Man would like to know, will the law let you hunt deer with that?
No.
Personally, I don't think we could get close enough to a deer to hunt them with it.
Yeah.
It's too loud.
Yeah, I don't see how it would do any good with any kind of wildlife. In fact, the kids asked, Daddy, can you fly it towards Shannon? And we very cautiously edged it, about 3 feet above her head towards her, and it got about 4 or 5 feet away, and Shannon went and hid under her legs.
The animals don't like it.
Yeah. Kind of a change of topics here. Suburban Hillbilly said, beautiful homestead, but why is the pool so far from the house? It's just where we like it. I mean, I don't know how else to explain.
That spot gets almost all shade in the summer until about lunchtime, and then the shade comes back onto the pool at about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I burn easily and can't wear sunblock. I'm allergic to it. So we kind of position the pool where it would be mostly shade in the summer. And it also keeps it cooler too.
Well, and also, I mean, if I zoom in on things a little bit here,
it's not that far.
So there's the house. The house is 80 feet long, so it's just about 80 feet from the edge of the house to the edge of the pool. And if we were have to put the pool right off the deck, so to speak, we would have lost this awesome yard for the kids playing. Our septic tank is right over here, so it would have put the pool right over here. And we've got other plans for things to go in that area. So it's really not all that far away, and it does work out really well that late in the afternoon you get some shade off of the shed and the trees over here. But during the day, like Jennifer said, especially during summer.
Yeah.
What times did you say?
All the way until like 11 o'clock noon.
About 11 o'clock you get direct sunlight across the whole thing.
Right.
And then what, about 4, 5, 6 in the afternoon on like a
It's usually
July,
like 3 or 4.
Till we start getting shade.
Till we start getting shade.
Yeah. So, and it stays nice and warm and comfortable. I mean, quite frankly, we don't want to be out there in the heat and in the direct sun and getting sunburnt. We just want to enjoy the pool when it's 100 degrees outside, and that spot does a wonderful job of it.
Yeah.
So, and you can even see, look at that, you can see it from space. You can see the subsoiler line going across. Isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
So,
couple more questions about your drone.
Alright, well, let me scroll down here. How do you go about registering a drone? I have been thinking, my phone changed on me here, I've been thinking about buying one at my work and doing a channel of my surrounding forests and state memorials, and I like to travel. You go on FAA's website, just do a Google search for FAA unmanned aircraft registration, because they don't call them a drone, they call them unmanned aircraft, and there's I think it's SU, small unmanned aircraft, or something like that, UAC, unmanned aircraft. Anyway, just search FAA drone registration, it will still come up with that. and you just go through and you tell them who you are and where you live, and you confirm that you're not doing it as a business. You know, you're not out there being hired by the news company to film events or something like that. And,
Farm Alarm's got it.
there you go. There you go.
Register my uas.faa.gov.
Yeah. So there you go. And you pay $5. They make you pay $5, and then at the end of the registration, they will give you this very long code, and they require that it be on the drone, that it be on the aircraft in some place where you do not have to use tools to access it. So if your battery compartment does not require for you to use a screwdriver to take the battery off, then you can put it inside the battery compartment. So that's what we did. We just used a little label maker and strapped it right onto the back there, and there you go. So now you doesn't have to take up any looks on the outside, but it's there and meets the requirements. So and then if you want, they have all the information on that website, and if you want to be able to like the examples they give are if you're a real estate agent and you want to be able to use a unmanned aircraft to show pictures or videos of the property you're selling as a real estate agent. That's using a drone for commercial purposes. Then you have to go off and get some testing done and be certified in order to do that. And like we said before, from everything I've been able to see on that website, they tell you where to go to be tested. They give you some study materials, but there's no discussion whatsoever about signing up to take a class. So you just self-study and go take a test. And you know, I mean, heck, if it's $5 to register as a hobbyist, I hate to think what they're going to charge for you to register to be able to fly it commercially, but, you know, hey, maybe it's worth it.
Yep. Farm Alarm would like to remind everyone, because I know we already know this, be sure to check all laws where you fly. There are some places that are illegal to fly over, such as many state parks and conservation areas.
So the FAA website has links to that, as well as the manufacturer for this drone, DJI, has links to that. For the record, the only place around us that has any listing that we found, and this is going to be a little interesting, is our airport. Mm-hmm. Now, we have a little regional airport, which happens to also be an Air National Guard base.
Right.
But what's interesting is there's a Naval Air Station a whole lot closer to us, and there is no listing whatsoever that we could find on the FAA's website or on the manufacturer's website saying there's anything wrong with flying around here. So I don't know, but it is important to know that it's and that's another thing that going through the certification gets you is authorization to fly in different classifications of airspace.
Right. Let It Snow says it looks like the Lego plane my son builds.
Yeah. Hey, if he can build the things that thing does, then more power to him.
No kidding.
He needs to get on with it.
Yeah.
All right. In the kitchen at Hilltop, how do you know where you're allowed to fly it? Yeah, so there's, that's everything we just talked about there. So, all right, so here's, an idea of what we plan to do. This is for us, not just for vacations and fun things like that, but we hope to kind of expand a whole array of things on how we can display videos on YouTube. So, for example, earlier today we worked on expanding the pig pen. So that's going to be a video probably in 2 weeks or so once we actually get all the work done and the video gets made and all that.
We had to knock down a lot more trees than we thought we would.
Yeah, we thinned out some trees. We wanted to leave a couple good oak trees in that area that we knew were going to leave acorns for the pigs, mm-hmm. And all that kind of stuff.
And give those ones space to really produce and more nutrients, so we cut down the trash trees around them, essentially, the ones that were too close.
But before we did any work whatsoever, we sent the drone in, and we took film of it, flying around in different areas and from up above, and and it's going to be able to give that, project before kind of fly through, and then we can have the regular video like we always do, and then there can be a fly through showing what it looks like now that the project is complete. So that's kind of what we want to do with this. It's also going to make it easier, so like if I'm running the tractor, Jennifer doesn't have to be 3 feet away with a cell phone trying to film everything. She can film me using that and be safely 100 feet away and not have to worry about anything. And what's really cool, this has a couple different like active tracking modes. So she can actually, if I'm working on the tractor, she can set this thing at a safe height and lock it onto me, and she can just sit back with the controller in her hand and just let it do all the recording and make sure that it stays safe and be done recording later. So she doesn't even have to sit there and mess with the joysticks the whole time. It can do that for her.
Now the battery lasts about 20 minutes.
Yeah, so the advertising says it'll go for 27 minutes, but they do admit that that's pristine lab conditions.
And then on top of that, it warns you at about 30%, and then...
I changed that.
You changed that?
Yeah.
Practically makes you set it down at 15%.
So it has like a low battery warning, and then like, I don't remember what the terming is, but kind of like a critical battery notification.
Yeah.
And you can change the first one. I don't think you can change the second one. But I mean, it's there. That's good measure, because if you do have it a half mile out, you need to make sure you get it back and all that kind of good stuff. But man, the thing makes a racket. I mean, it just sits there and hollers at you. It just beeps
beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. Battery is low, sucker. Come on, bring it home. Bring it home.
You are not going to miss that warning.
Yeah, but it's pretty neat.
But the pigs weren't happy us flying over them either.
No, the pigs, they weren't, I don't know,
Thrilled.
they kind of almost seemed more playful about it, the way they ran away from it. They didn't go squealing and hiding kind of thing. They just jumped around.
Does it have a backup battery? The package you got came with 2 backup batteries, so he's actually got 3. We can fly the thing for an hour. How long does it take to charge a battery?
It actually takes a good long while. It takes about an hour and a half or so per battery to charge it back up. Plus the controller has to get charged. Now the controller, this actually has 2 different modes. You can fly it with just a cell phone. But I think there's more limitations on how far you can fly it, because it uses Wi-Fi technology that's built into that thing. So you can only fly it so far using that. Or you can plug your phone into their controller that comes with it that has these big antennas, and that's when you get your 4-mile range out of the thing. But the controller, from what I've noticed, you could burn 3 batteries and the controller still be a 50% battery. So it's the batteries that go on the back of the thing.
Tell them about your live streaming.
But you know what, though? I mean, flying that thing around for 20 minutes, I mean, I guess if you were doing it commercially, that you might want longer time. But for us, I mean, by the time you're done 20 minutes, you're done.
Yeah.
It's plenty of time. Okay, so yeah, something cool that we're going to have to do at some point. The thing will stream to YouTube.
And Facebook.
And to Facebook, and a couple other places too that I'm not familiar with. But it will live stream to YouTube, and it will pick up the audio from my cell phone, so I can sit there and talk while I'm flying, and you get the video from the device and the audio from my phone, from me, and we can fly live. So I mean, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Now I do wonder how that works. I would imagine you got to have a pretty good, strong data connection and one hell of a data plan, because you're not supposed to have Wi-Fi turned on your phone while you're using this, because the Wi-Fi signals apparently cause interference. So it's interesting, but.
Let It Snow said, this is not slow down, this is amp up for next week.
Well, hey, who knows? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get y'all amped up. I'm about ready for bed if you can't tell from all the yawning I've been doing. But so just to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. Well, here, let me bring this up. Let me bring this back up. Okay, so you can see here is our big dirt pile. This is dirt we brought home that we've been using for everything from the tower gardens to planting in. Well, you can see this big long strip of mulch here. That's where the black locust had been planted. So you can see that. Well, I can't tell you now because YouTube is notorious for being public, and I can't let my children know. But there is a project going on right here. So be on the lookout for that at some point. Let's see here. So today we spent a lot of time working up back over here. This is where the pigs are now. They're in a very small area right here, and we are expanding. Let me see.
Yeah, we can't see back behind the...
I'm working on that.
Okay.
Whoops, I just messed something up there. Let me see here. Let me go to the right thing here, and ta-da! Looky there.
There you go.
All right. So this is where the pigs are right now, and we are expanding all the way down this hill and over and up. So kind of a trapezoid coming off where they currently are is going to be where the new pigs are. So that's something we spent a lot of time on today. And then if I bring you back over here, it's not really in the picture, in this picture very well. But down here are the beehives. We spent some time going through that. And let me tell you, we have gone in that beehive every single week since we have got it. We have seen day-old eggs. We know there is a queen in there, and we cannot find her.
No, we can't.
We have never laid eyes on that queen.
And I'm usually really good at Where's Waldo.
Yeah.
I have found every queen we have looked for before this hive, but the problem is, in this hive, there are so many different colors, size, shapes of bees, we can't find her.
Here's something funny. I just noticed something I got to point out and share with everybody, because this is the slowdown, and we share reality with you guys, don't we? All right, so check this out. This porch is built like this because when they graded our home, the land for our home, this is the high spot, and then it comes down to right in front of the driveway, and this is where the water runs. So the water runs through this way, and I decided to build a bit of a boardwalk to get over the water.
I asked for it.
We could get to the car. Well, here's something fun. I mean, look at this. You see these boards off either side? That would be the children building a ramp so they can drive their bicycles and tricycles up over the
Yep.
up over the boardwalk and get to the other side, because they love to just run laps around here. Let me zoom back out a little bit.
You can actually see the track around the house where they run laps around the house all the time.
Yeah, they just love to run loops around the house. But anyway, so let's see. You know what's also kind of nice about this picture is you can actually see the swales.
Yeah.
You don't really see them, or you can't make them out very well down on the ground. But here it's
grown over.
Here it's clear where they are, and they stand out. And you can tell that I've started to. This area here is now like the official staging area. It looks like a construction zone.
It sure does.
So this is where, these are the trees that came off the front of the driveway. You remember me talking about when I hauled this long, which, by the way, this turned out to be 2 feet in diameter and 17 foot long white oak trunk. But this is all the white oak here, and this is all of the pine over here. So we'll burn the pine outside and the oak inside. And then you see where we got tractor implements staged all around. But this was built up so that we could get the tractor implements out of this area back over here so we can actually grow this garden, which really needs to get done in the next 2 weeks. I really need to do something over there and get some corn in the ground. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on, and those are the things that we've been working on, and that's where all these little things actually are. The fish pond. Hold on, let me zoom out again.
You've got another question.
Uh-oh.
This one is not about the drone, believe it or not.
I'm trying to get back over here and click on the right thing and get everything back where it belongs, but so like the fish pond is way back over here. Every time you see us talk about the fish pond is back over there. We were told that the bees don't want the water right next to their hive. They want to go out and look for them. But if you noticed in the video where we flew over, the property just to the north of us, which would be, if you're actually looking at this, the north of us would be down to the bottom of the picture, has a pond, and it from the picture from the drone, it looks like it's just crystal clear and beautiful right now. And I bet you that the bees found that because it is closer than even that, than the fish pond. So anyway, it's interesting to think about that. Let it snow, Locust.
No.
No.
Locust is the question.
Oh, let it snow. Locust is not that the tree that kills everything in order to survive. Oh, black locust. So take it or leave it. There's people in the Smoky Mountain range where black locust grows native, who absolutely want nothing to do with it. As far as they are concerned, it's an invasive thorny tree, and they hate it. We think we can grow them like specimen trees and allow the bees to make honey off of them and use them for making shade during the summer and allowing light through in the winter and all those kind of good things. So, some people don't want anything to do with black locust, but we think it's going to work out just fine. And that's probably the next trip I want to make with the drone, is I want to fly that right down where we walk to get to the deer field and check on that other locust tree.
There you go. They could not see the pointer of where the pond is. Just cool. So you guys know, the pool is south of the house. The bees are north of the house. So it's pretty much a direct beeline from...
Can we see it now?
Yes. I think they mean the... Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So it's right back here is where the bee water is.
The little pond.
Yep.
Do you stock your pond? Our pond is not big enough. We have goldfish.
Yeah, we stocked it. Absolutely.
Our goldfish are that big. Yeah.
15-cent goldfish.
The pond's 125 gallons.
Yeah, it's a little 125-gallon pond. It's not a big pond.
Now, the other pond we were talking about belongs to our neighbors.
Yeah. And I can't control fast forward and reverse, or I'd bring that video back up and fast forward to where it is and show it to you, but there's just not enough time now.
Yep. Okay.
So. All right. The other nice thing about black locust is they're very fragrant. So one thing we're also hoping about, just like we were talking about in that video about the pieces of 8 rose bush, now we can have all of these, and we open up windows in the house, and we can let the air current blow through and perfume the house, which with 5 kids is sometimes a good thing.
Especially with 2 boys.
All right, any last questions, folks? We got a couple of seconds left in the show here, and if you've got any other questions, we'd like to go ahead and get those answered today if we can.
Farm Alarm says, I subscribe to your channel by way of suggested by Daniel at Go for Green Living. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you for coming along. We've been out there to Daniel's farm a couple times, and it's nice to have you be along as part of our show, so thanks for coming.
Awesome color of trees. Cajun Homestead.
I think we mentioned that a couple times today as we were flying around and
I
seeing.
love the colors of spring out here.
Y'all, I tell you, there's just something about that vibrant new thing. You know, it's like a baby child. You know, there's just they're new, and it's vibrant, and there's it's like the baby's skin is so soft. There's a reason, you know.
Yeah.
And you get out there, and all these deciduous trees are just starting to come into leaf, but they're coming into leaf just a few days or a few weeks apart from each other. So you get these different shades of green, and some of them are just the most vibrant, bright green. They just scream life and renewal. And then a couple are a week or two behind, or maybe they're screaming life and renewal, but they're a couple, a few shades or hues off, and it's just really pretty. And I don't know, I wouldn't say I like it just as much as autumn colors, but it's pretty spectacular still. Have you seen any game apps for drones, IR fighter pilot type stuff? No, I have not. I know I've seen my son has found online where they race drones in arenas as a sport, and man, I tell you what, I tried doing circles around the driveway with this thing, and of course it was my first day doing it, but I could hardly keep the thing, remembering which joystick does what. That just doing it as like a fighter pilot kind of thing would just, I don't know, that seems
Use IR lights as kill shot.
And Holistic Advocate, yeah, Holistic Advocate was asking again exactly where this pig area is going to be. So just to recap on that once more, this is our shed. This is where the ducks and chickens were before. Well, here, let me zoom in a little bit if I can before time runs out. And over there. Okay. All right, well, hey, you can almost actually see the bee pond right there.
But I can't see your hand, your pointer.
It should pop up in a second, because I think I've got it in the right spot.
There it is.
Give it a second. All right, so this is where the pigs are now, and you can kind of see the rectangle area. It goes right past this cedar tree here. And so their area that we're taking them goes from this corner down this hill 42 feet, and then we're going to go over 32 feet and then come back up 42 feet, 48 feet. So it's a bit of a trapezoid right here in this area. So they're going to go from an area that's 16 feet by 32 feet, and it's going to open up to another area that'll be 48
Three
feet.
times the size.
Yeah, 48 feet by 16 feet. And you can't see them here because they're just now starting to leaf out. But there are some very big, you can kind of see their shadows on the ground, but these are some oak trees that are actually starting to, or have started producing acorns. So we hope that it will provide them with the food that they need. All right, folks, with that, our time has expired. Thanks so much for being a part of tonight's show. And while we will certainly be including drone footage in our videos moving forward, our intention is not to have another hour-long show all about drones. So stick with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.